And what bothers me is the fact that the Inspector General of the Police, who ought to have known that this syndicate is in operation, is a graduate of this of this very university.
And that issue is already with the police, who have the responsibility and authority to investigate general fraud. We investigate corruption.
Commissioner, it's good that you have mentioned the police. There are allegations that head of police himself acquired this fake PhD degree. So do you think he can investigate himself?
Yes, because of course it is the head of police who has been there, and the people who are responsible for these universities have been arrested in Sierra Leone.
Like I said. Now let's start off with the conversation. And Sierra Leoneans are discussing academic fraud claims that allegedly implicates top government officials. The claims were raised by one John Idris, who claims to speak for the million Sierra Leone academicians against fake degree holders.
And among those implicated in the claim is the Inspector General of Police, Ambrose Ovula, who holds a honorary doctorate degree from the Africa Graduate University in Uganda. I've just spoken to John Idris Lahir and began by asking what informs his resolve.
What actually inspires me, I would say there are many reasons. The universities in Sierra Leone, they are producing students, but yet still the joblessness is very high. But when you go to these offices, they are packed with employees. When you ask some of them where did you study, they will say, it was an online course. So I began to study these people, the trend as to how they got admitted into these colleges. And I came to realize that it is because of the type of education they are getting, their academic credentials, that has actually created, a major economic problem in the country.
And Dr. John, maybe to interrupt you, are you in a way saying key Sierra Leonean officials don't have the academic qualification and therefore not qualified to hold the public offices?
Some of them do have the academic qualifications, but once they occupy these government positions, they tend to go by fake PhDs, masters, that gives them undue advantage in their places of work.
But Dr. John, the claims you are raising are quite outrageous, I should say, because these universities where these officials have earned their credentials have clarified that their degrees are authentic.
But the university that clarified the issue is not an authentic university. It is the same criminal, network that continues to evolve, changing names and operating the same clandestine way. But
talk about a scam. Do you think fake degrees is a concerning issue in Sierra Leone?
It is a concerning issue. When the war ended, people decided that the best way to make it is to either fake it until you get it. This very university that gave this clarification, they have graduated over 1,000 people. How many of them are pharmacists today? How many of them are nurses today? How many of them are even employed in the office of the president? These are the key questions, and this has to stop. This has to stop.
And you sound pretty disturbed by this development, Dr. Idris. You talk about you are speaking for your people. Which constituency is this?
The Sierra Leone constituency, all 7 million people, I speak for them. Those with the fake degrees, they constitute less than 0.1% of the population. And what bothers me is the fact that the Inspector General of the Police, who ought to have known that this syndicate is in operation, is a graduate of this of this very university.
And you seem pretty determined with this cause. To what length are you willing to go?
Well, I will continue to talk about this until maybe lay my life for this cause. The world is watching. The world is listening. Soon, the international other countries will refuse to accept degrees from Sierra Leone when Sierra Leoneans apply to go say they want to go study overseas.
Yes, and for purposes of just clarity to our listeners who are not Sierra Leoneans, how many officials are you talking about?
I'm talking about, what would I say, close to 1,000. The military.
And where are you drawing your findings from?
Because the very university that is offering these degrees, how can you get a PhD? One, there is no dissertation. Two, no one examined that dissertation. Secondly, you did not go for conferences. This is the problem.
Well, clearly a dejected John Idrissa proclaimed voice of millions of Sierra Leone academicians who are against fake degree holders, Josie.
Yes, and this has been a very heated debate topic on our Facebook page today. And in the studio, we have our colleague Fatima Hadun. Fatima, what are people saying?
Yes, I mean, we really hit a nerve with this subject. We have Abubakar Karbo, who said even the commission, including the police, all of them are corrupt in Sierra Leone. We have another comment by Juma Wasili. He said, come to this tiny southern African country, we have plentiful fake papers. I mean, another person, Rein Dorf, he took it more resourcefully and said he would buy a fake PhD. But he said, if it is cheap, why not? Wow. Nothing more than 50 euros.
Oh, okay. He even knows the price. He even knows the price.
So he can't be more than 50 euros, then he would buy. Some people, cost for some people.
It's quite hilarious. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get back to more comments on the same story. Now, the Sierra Leone's Anti-Corruption Commission boss has rubbished the claims, insisting that the claims lack legal merit and therefore cannot be investigated by them.
And this is even as John Idris, whom I have just spoken to, claims that the ethics body is just trying to cover up the officials implicated, Josie.
George, but to put everything into context, because this is Africa Link, I have spoken to the ACC, that's the Anti-Corruption Commission boss, Ben Kaifala, who started by outlining the responsibility of his led ethics body.
In summary, the role of the Anti-Corruption Commission is to investigate instances of corruption and to prosecute them, to also lead efforts at ensuring corruption prevention in Sierra Leone.
Now, you rightfully say the body was set up to investigate alleged instances of corruption and to prevent corruption practices. Now, Commissioner, why have you refused to investigate the fake PhD degrees complaint?
In the particular instance of the PhD, it is alleged that certain individuals have PhD that are not merited and that they are using the PhD in the public service. Now, two ways we can get involved. The law requires that for somebody to commit such an offense, it has to be established that he used such things to confer an advantage on himself. So, for example, if the requirement to become commissioner of the ACC is that you must be a lawyer, if I present certificates to Parliament in my vetting process that made me get the job as commissioner, but it turns out that I am not a lawyer, then the offense is committed. The particular situation we have here, there is no requirement for any position for somebody to have a PhD, and certainly there is no evidence of fact established that any of them use the PhD to acquire positions.
Commissioner, so in other words, you say even the fact that you are aware that this government officials, some of these government officials hold a fake PhD degree, is it a crime or not?
It may be a crime, but for it to be a crime within the auspices of the Anti-Corruption Act, there has to be the element of conferring an advantage, and we are saying that is absent at this stage. But also you have to look at it from the point of view. The whole thing may be a scam even against them.
But how are you going to know if it may be a scam or not if you refuse to investigate the case?
Because we have record now that confirms that the institutions were not accredited in the countries where they say they exist. So if I am giving a degree from a university in Germany, and it turns out that that university is not accredited in Germany to confer a degree, it is not necessarily that I am being criminal myself in Sierra Leone. It is possible that the people in Germany who set up this university without going through the proper accreditation are in fact the ones who are committing the crime, and they are the ones who are actually carrying out the offenses and not the victims. And that issue is already with the police, who have the responsibility and authority to investigate general fraud. We investigate corruption.
Commissioner, it's good that you have mentioned the police. There are allegations that head of police himself acquired this fake PhD degree. So do you think he can investigate himself?
Yes, because of course it is the head of police who has been there, and the people who are responsible for these universities have been arrested in Sierra Leone.
Like I said, this is a very heated topic today. Sierra Leone Anti-Corruption Commission boss Ben Kaifala speaking there.
Fatma, take us through other comments on this stormy issue.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a very, very heated subject. There's one person a couple of people who took it on a more serious note. I think this is a really important one. This person said, Ibrahim Sorie, he said, this matter reflects the growing concern about an upsurge in educational fraud, which threatens the which threatens to devalue higher education and undermine academic integrity, which just goes to show the consequences that can happen when fake PhD degrees are widespread. But here's one maybe for you, George. You're from Kenya. Makinda Mugendi said, Kenyan politicians are kings and queens of fake degrees. What do you think about that?
I can't agree more.
Anyway, okay, this is DW's Africa Link. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.